Greetings, Masters, and welcome to the channel. I am the Shotgun Shogun, and today I would like to introduce you to a series that I am going to be starting called Ballin on a Budget. In this series, we are going to go over servants and strats as well as team comps geared towards the free-to-play player. Now, all servants and CEs covered in this video can be acquired through the Friend Point gacha at the time of recording. Now, as the future goes on, there will be more servants as well as CEs that are brought into the game, and I will do updates later on as those come out. But for the first episode, we are going to be taking a look at Hans Christian Andersen. Hans Christian Andersen is a 2-star caster with a cost of 4 and a max level of 65. Now at 65, he is rocking a 5,758 point attack rating and an 8,484 HP rating. Now, if you do grail this boy up to 100, you are looking at 8,344 attack, as well as 12,244 HP. Hans's HP at 65 does put him 3rd place in the highest 2-star HP rating. However, he is still very fragile for a support, and if focused, he will blow up very easily. Hans's NP gain on attack is 1.66 and on defense is 3. His star weight is 48. He has a star rate of 10.8. He has a death rate of 30%. His attribute is man. His traits are male, servant, humanoid, and weak to enema, elish. He has a quick arts buster deck, which has 2 hits on quick, 1 hit on arts, 1 hit on buster, and 3 hits on the extra attack. The nice thing about the NP gain is that the 3 arts cards, although they only have 1 hit, will be generating quite a bit of Noble Phantasm, which is great because you are going to want to get his Noble Phantasm off as much as possible. So taking a look at Hans's skills, you have Human Observation A, Rapid Casting E, and Innocent Monster D. His class skills are Item Construction C, as well as Territory Creation D. His Human Observation skill A increases critical strength for 3 turns to all allies. This is 10% at rank 1, all the way up to 40% at rank 10. This is a fantastic buff for very heavy crit-based servants to do even more damage. Rapid Casting E is going to be the bread and butter of this servant. This greatly increases your NP gauge, 50% at rank 1, all the way up to 75% at rank 10. Innocent Monster D, you gain critical stars every turn for 3 turns. However, the downside to this is it does decrease his defense. You get 3 crit stars a turn at rank 1 and 9 crit stars a turn at rank 10. This also decreases his defense by 14% across the board. Now, Item Construction C increases debuff success rate by 6%, and in Territory Creation D increases arts cards effectiveness by 4%. The priority to work on skills is Rapid Casting E, followed by both Innocent Monster D as well as Human Observation A. Now, a lot of Hans's strength comes from his Noble Phantasm, so you are going to want to level Rapid Casting E so that you can get your Noble Phantasm off more often, as well as reduce the cooldown so that you can use this skill much more often in longer fight. Human Observation and Innocent Monster are both skills that serve to facilitate crit damage dealers such as Ushiwakamaru, Billy the Kid, as mentioned earlier. So these 2 are interchangeable, so there's not really a priority. You can flip-flop back on both of these. It really depends on what you have available to level both of these skills. If you are running a dedicated star generator such as Cursed Arm Hassan, you can favor Human Observation A little bit heavier than Innocent Monster D, thus freeing up resources in order to level other skills. Now on to Hans's Noble Phantasm, a story just for you. Now this is a rank C arts based Noble Phantasm that has a chance to apply two of the following buffs to the party. Now, at rank 1, this has a 60% chance. At rank 5, this has an 80% chance. Chance to increase party's attack for 3 turns, chance to increase party's defense for 3 turns, and recovers party's HP every turn for 3 turns. Now, the HP recovery is 100%. However, the attack and defense are an 80% chance at Noble Phantasm 5. The overcharge effect on Hans's Noble Phantasm increases the attack and defense given by from 20% all the way up to 40%, and the healing from 1,000 all the way up to 3,000. Now, Hans does have an interlude upgrade for this Noble Phantasm, and what you get after the upgrade is a chance to increase party's critical star generation for 3 turns as well. This does add another buff to the chance to trigger on Noble Phantasm. So this Noble Phantasm, while it is hit or miss on the attack and defense, you definitely get HP recovery out of this, as well as the potential for some very fantastic buffs. Not to mention, this is very frequently up, so this works out very, very well in regenning hit points, buffing your team. It works very well with Hans's additional buffs. This little man is a buff monster. And speaking of his Noble Phantasm, let's get into some of the craft essence suggestions for him. Now, again, be aware that these craft essences are available out of the Friend Point gacha. And with these suggestions, mostly we are going to be looking at increasing Hans's Noble Phantasm gain, whether it be starting per turn or NP gain in general. So the first one up is Sorcery Ore. This increases NP gain by 15% and max limit broken by 20%. Very straightforward. You are going to want to be getting the absolute most out of your arts cards. So when you're attacking, you want to increase your Noble Phantasm gain. This increases by 20% at max limit. So this is pretty fantastic for getting you there. The next one up is Clock Tower. This increases NP gauge by 2% each turn, and max limit broken, this increases it by 3% every turn. One of the reasons why I would look into Clock Tower is if you do max this out, it's going to give you 1,500 hit points, which definitely helps because Hans is very fragile and every last little bit of hit points that you can get will help. Now, I do understand that 3% per turn seems like a drop in the bucket, but in long fights, this definitely comes in handy, as well as, like I said, the hit points to keep him alive during that time. The last one I have up here is Dragon's Meridian. This increases Noble Phantasm gauge by 30% at the start of the battle and 50% at max limit broken. Now, if you take a look at Rapid Casting E, if you have this max limit broken, you can fire off your Noble Phantasm right out the gate. So at rank 1, Rapid Casting E increases your NP gauge by 50%. So with this at max limit broken and rank 1 Rapid Casting, boom, first turn Noble Phantasm. Fantastic. Definitely a good one. You get a little bit of attack and a little bit of hit points, but it's definitely not 1,500 hit points. So these are 3 of the craft essence suggestions that I would put on Hans as a free-to-play player. As a 2-star, Hans is very reasonable when it comes to Ascension Materials, looking at 9 silver monuments, 9 gold monuments, 4 pages, 5 homunculus babies, 8 gears, and 6 horseshoes. This is not an unreasonable amount of materials to ascend him. Getting into Hans's skills is a little bit more pricey. You're going to have a handful more homunculus babies. You're going to have a lot more pages, as well as void dust and horseshoes. Now, horseshoes are not the easiest thing in the world to farm, So these skills are a little bit pricey. However, they all pay off for you. So investing in Hans' skills to get them up higher is definitely a worthwhile investment. So after going through all of his stats and all of the numbers, here is my feelings on Hans. I feel that Hans is a very underappreciated support servant who brings a vast array of buffs to the team. Even if you are not a free-to-play player, let's say you're a Dolphin, Hans still has a good spot in your team, and he is a very, very good investment for everyone. He brings critical damage, he brings critical stars, he brings a phenomenal buffing Noble Phantasm, which he can fire off very often. He charges his Noble Phantasm extremely fast thanks to things like rapid casting, as well as the NP generation on his arts cards, as well as having 3 arts cards in general. His low rarity means that it is very, very easy to get him 2 Noble Phantasm 5, which gets you that 80% buff chance, as well as just makes his Noble Phantasm a lot stronger. He also is very cost effective for your team. So even if you are not a free to play player, or let's say you get really lucky and you pull a 5-star, this guy is going to be on your team and he's going to be very, very low cost. So you can attach anything else that you would like to the team. He is phenomenal at helping out critical damage dealers thanks to his Human Observation A, as well as his Innocent Monster D, which generates those crit stars for your damage dealers to really hammer home and blow things up. Now, the downsides are he is very, very squishy due to things like Innocent Monster, the fact that he doesn't have a ton of hit points in the first place. He has no dodge, he has no invulnerability, he has absolutely no defensive mechanisms. So one of the things that you are going to want to do is you are going to potentially want to pair him up with somebody who can either give him defense buffs or taunt to pull the attention away from him. His offensive power is pretty much nil, but that's not what you're really bringing him for. So when you are attacking him, chances are you're going to be attacking with his arts card to build up that Noble Phantasm. I would not rely on him to bring the damage. Now, people that I would team him up with, like I have said a couple times in this, Billy the Kid, Ushiwakamaru, George, Leonidas. You could team him up with people like Robin Hood for extra arts damage. There are a lot of very good damage dealers that would benefit from bringing Hans. You can also build low star arts decks with Paracelsus, Robin Hood, and Hans for a very, very strong arts team. So overall, Hans is one of the best low star support servants, and he is very, very much worth your time and worth your investment if you are trying to ball on a budget. With that said, I hope that this guide has shown a little bit of light on what Hans Christian Andersen can do for you. And I would like to thank my Patreon, Merlanda, for giving me the idea for this video as well as this series. I would also like to thank all of the other Patreons that help support this channel as well as this series. If you would like to help support, the Patreon link is down below. However, you can also support the channel by just hitting that subscribe button, dropping me a like and a comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get notified on future guides on how to ball on a budget. So let me know down in the comments on some low stars that you would like to see me cover, potentially some team comps or strategies that you would like to also see. And as always, guys, I hope that this helped out, and I will catch you next time. Take it easy. Peace.